Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Warren JFK Coach's Corner with Damon Buente. Coach, start the season. I mean, it feels like it comes up on us so fast. I mean, you hit summer, and for some reason, I feel maybe it's just me getting older, but like earlier and earlier and earlier, the football season starts. For you, it's got to feel kind of the same way, but there's an excitement here in JFK, unlike any other place in the world that I've been to have that excitement almost, I mean, at some point it'll be year-round for this football program. What's that like?
It's fun for me because, I'm a football junkie. I love the preparation part of it. I enjoy the off season. I enjoyed building a team. But to be at a place where things matter, there's fading qualities in American society that I think matter still here. I think that service still matters here. I think that chivalry matters here. I think that grit it matters here. I think that there's some things at Warren JFK that make this place rooted in substance, rooted in tangible qualities that are kind of fading elsewhere. And that's why I came here with Coach Pro a couple years ago. But to be a part of that, it motivates me and it makes you raise your standard. These kids, they expect your best and they deserve your best. So you have to match their love for the K. So I enjoy trying to chase that energy that the kids give me ultimately.
One of the coolest things I saw, and listen, when we see and we do some of these pre-games and we see Dana and Channel 21, our partners, doing some of these interviews, you get a lot of coach speak. Yours, I was just absolutely taken aback by the way that you perform these interviews. You're so true, and you're so just transparent in this. And to say, hey, I'm not crowning our kids. They have a lot to earn. They have a lot to go out there. There's an expectation here. I think everybody understands that. You understand that, obviously. So last year, talk to me about the challenging times and how things have turned the corner for this year.
Well, thank you for the praise. My dad and my twin are both attorneys, so they're very well spoken. So they anytime I have a microphone, they're always quick to help me out when I need it. But in terms of the challenges last year, we make no excuses. We didn't play well enough to win those football games against the teams that we were playing. Did we play some really great teams? Absolutely. But there were games that we should have been in a lot longer until the end. I felt teams pulled away from us. And that comes down to consistency. And in terms of this year and, staying true and being authentic, the reality is we have played 5 quarters of good football out of 12 quarters. That has nothing to do with any player on our team or players, or that has nothing to do with any position coach. It's something that I need to reflect on and I have to do better. That has nothing to do with anybody else. That's something that I need to make a non-negotiable is consistency. And I feel that if I start to hammer that a little bit more and I get better, I think that there's going to be a trickle-down effect. And not that we will have success, we have a better chance. So that's it's just accountability. It has nothing to do with anybody else except for myself on our shortcomings.
Tough loss last week in a very good LeBray team. What you expect to be a very good LeBray team. Coaches will tell you, well, it doesn't matter if you lose by 40 or lose by 1, you still lose. Does that stand up with you, or do you feel like, okay, we lost, but there were some good things and there was obviously some challenges we took from that particular contest?
Whether you lose by 1 or whether you lose by 40, there's a why behind there. And I don't know necessarily if it's by 1 or by 40, which one hurts worse. Yeah. I think it's the lesson might hurt worse. I felt that the penalties and the inconsistencies in the game against LeBray would be more painful than losing by 40 to a juggernaut per se. So I don't think it's necessarily the score on the scoreboard. I think it's how you lost. And you have to give credit to LeBray. They played very well down the stretch. We were inconsistent down the stretch. So it's not that, whether losing by 3 or whatever it was that I felt LeBray played very physical and well down the stretch. They were tired, we were tired, but they just stuck to the plan and stuck to the plan and stuck to the plan. And ultimately we didn't execute. We deserved to lose. We did not deserve to win the game. And I give credit to LeBray on a fantastic 3-0 start. They've had some thrillers. Coach Elliott's got it rolling over there. Big one against Garfield this week. A game might last 50 minutes the way the two teams run the ball.
Playing in the box.
It might be over at 8 o'clock. So if you're looking for a matinee, you might want to catch that one. So, no, congrats to them. They did a great job, but we have to look at the film and learn the lesson.
What lesson did you learn last week?
Well, I think that we have to be more technically sound. I think that we have to be more physical. And I want to say that we have to play Kennedy football. It's a great question. We have to play Kennedy football for 4 quarters. When we don't do that, we're not going to have success. And Kennedy football, the foundation of it is a relentless, consistent physicality. You look at the deep playoff runs that Coach Begg, Coach Pro, Coach Knapp, all those guys have had. If you ever watch a film on them, guys are making mistakes, but they're doing it at they're driving 55 and a 25.
Yeah.
And they hit the wrong guy, but they hit the wrong guy going 55.
Yeah.
So there's going to be teenage boys are going to make mistakes. They're 14 to 18 years old, but it's that relentless physicality, that consistent physicality over the course of 4 quarters. That's the lesson I learned on film.
You're doing it full speed. You'd rather say whoa than go. Is that what I'm getting?
100%, man.
I
You got
appreciate
it.
that. All right, so this week, obviously the beat goes on. What do you? I mean, I don't want to have you give away your practice plan, but like, what things are you guys working on this week to get better? I mean, I know that's a wide question, but like, it's specific if you really think about it. What things do you have to get better on to get that dub this week in week 4?
As a coaching staff, we have really tried to dive into self-scouting. You get your first 3 films, you include your scrimmage. Hey, are we more efficient running to the right or running to the left? What percentage are we on positive plays? How often do we run pass? We're trying to, as a coaching staff, look at ourselves. From a player standpoint, Grand Valley's big. They're big up front. They pose a couple challenges. Offensively, when they get into offense, they have 1,000,001 tight ends, so you have to be able to line up correctly. They want to run right at your face, which I really appreciate and I respect that. When we are on offense, they're very, very simple. They're going to line up and play, and they're going to lean on their bigger defensive line. Their coach said in the Trib preview earlier this summer that he looks forward to bringing back this big line up front on both sides, and he enjoys smash mouth football. Excuse me. So to get the dub, as you were saying this week, I just think as a coaching staff, let's start identifying what we do well, what we do poorly, and this is the point in the season where you got to get back to basics. You can't your playbook can't be a Cheesecake Factory menu. It's got to be actually trimmed. So we shouldn't be adding to it. We should just be tweaking it, trimming the fat.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball, what do we do well, and coaching our kids up. That's really what it is. So we've spent a ton of time in individual this week, a ton of time learning, and just going back to things that we did in July, because I feel that that's a huge part that cost us last week.
That's interesting. Limiting the installs and cutting it out basically altogether. That's really interesting. I mean, but like you say, we know Grand Valley. I mean, it doesn't take much. You know Kennedy football. Like you said, this is who we are, and we're going to win playing Kennedy football, or we're going to lose playing Kennedy football. You're not trying to be somebody else. For you, is it challenging year to year to kind of fit people into that program, right? It's hard to change that, right? Like, you are who you are, and you can't make a guy that's 5'7", 6'4", in 1 year. Maybe sometimes if you get some good grace, but
right.
But like, how do you do that year after year and not have to change, from pro to all the way down the line? Whoever's coaching, Kennedy still expects this brand of football to be played on Friday night.
Well, the great part about that is the curriculum's been taught since the 60s.
Yeah.
You're looking at 10 Final Fours, 2 state titles, 49 playoff wins. I mean, you're talking about the Alabama and the Ohio State of around here, and it's just such a privilege to be a part of. So in terms of the Kool-Aid, that plugging a guy in, that it doesn't matter, because in high school football, kids are either born with the body of a lion or a heart of a lion.
That's right.
And if they got both, they're getting their school paid for, which is great.
That's right.
As long as they can write their name on an ACT.
Yep.
When you're in Division VII football, you're not going to have a lot of those guys. Yeah. But when you do, it's your job. It's your job to motivate them and get them to play for the K, for the K, for the K. So there's help here. There's an expectation. There's alumni. There's boosters. There's administrators. There's teachers that have preached the standard since these kids were in elementary school.
Yeah.
And not only that, I believe I have a really good coaching staff. I have a lot of support from my assistants. I think they do a great job of promoting the K. And then don't ever forget, we have seniors on this team that started in Canton 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that mojo in there too. Ethan Lanslow and Mike Bartow, Marcus Kimura, Noah Elser, Ian O'Deal. There's 15 seniors, but there was a lot of guys playing in Canton in meaningful snaps. I'm not talking about backup PAT. Where they're not getting in. The standard is the standard. I know what I signed up for. You're coaching in the shadow of all these legends, and I get that. I'm not worried about that. I'm not trying to be the next Bayek or the next pro. I'm trying to be the first Buente. But within that, you are not going to change what this place is. So that's why when the job opened up, I came running. I want to be here, and I'm just every day. It's the best job I ever had. So that's what we pray every day. And at the end of the prayer, I say it's the best job I ever had, and I mean that. So I'm just so fortunate to be here and so grateful.
That is awesome juice, man. That's awesome energy.
Thanks.
I love that. That's because you don't get that everywhere, right? Some people it's just, hey, I've been doing this for so long that I'm just going to keep on doing it until the wheels fall off. You've got this team energized. You've got this program energized. The school energized, and being quite honest, I'm energized when I see that because it bleeds over. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Well, that doesn't happen by one guy. I think our coaching staff does a great job.
Talk about it.
Oh gosh, it starts with our two coordinators. Mo Green, he's a spread guy. That's how he sees the game. I think he's an excellent teacher, and he is a surgeon in his preparation. He is to a T. Everything's ready to go. There's never a question unanswered. And then on the defensive side of the football, you talk about the Blue Storm defense. When we've made our runs, we've had that physical Blue Storm defense. And the ultimate motivator, Jordan Simmons. I mean, the almighty Jordan Simmons. He is – I've never met a player that didn't spend 15 minutes with him that wasn't ready to rock and run through that brick wall to your left.
Wow.
I've never met a kid that didn't learn something from Coach Green and know exactly, do you know why you're doing this? And then on the flip side, with Coach Simmons, I've never met a kid that didn't want to put on a chin strap and go and drive 55 and a 25 for that man. And then I think our assistant coaches do a phenomenal job in bringing back two Kennedy alumni has helped kind of reinvigorate what the standard is and what the culture is. So I'm proud of our staff. It's not me. It's our seniors. Their energy gives us energy. Their love gives us love. Their hope gives us hope. The assistant coaches have done a great job, and I'm just here to make the calendar and send some emails. These kids are doing all the work. These assistant coaches, they're the ones they're grinding.
Yeah.
They're the frontline soldiers. So I appreciate them more than they know, and I should tell them and the seniors more often.
Must be some good emails if your doctor knows back.
Oh God, that's part of the gig. It's part of the gig being a head coach. I don't mind it. I love it. Coach Pav and Coach Pro, they told me that all the time. You better be ready because that's part of it.
Let's talk about the schedule real quick. I mean, something people don't take away from the schedule. Yes, you guys can put together teams that are bigger, that seemingly have double the size of your roster. The thing that I appreciate about it is you're teaching kids lessons for life through football that you should be able to line up against anybody and give it your 100%. And it doesn't matter what school, what colors they're wearing. You represent the K. For you, is that kind of the thinking that goes into it? I know you've got a big part of it, but you're a motivator. You're a motivator coach. You're a guy that gets people juiced up. I mean, what are some of these conversations? I mean, these guys, they're hearing it all week long. Oh, my gosh, Kennedy's playing this, Kennedy's playing this. But it's become such a, we're playing them, and we're going to beat them. We're going to go toe-to-toe, and we're going to walk out with a victory and be sportsmanlike along the process.
No doubt.
So talk to me about when you take this job, that you're going up against some behemoths in schools that other people go, yeah, well, that's great that Kennedy's doing it. And we'll see, when that happens. What's your mentality with that?
Well, with 16 getting in, let's test ourselves. I don't know. What are you learning, if you go out and you win a game 40 to rip, 50 to rip? And I get that. There's sometimes in your schedule you need to get healthy and you need to do that. I don't know how much we learn about our players when we do that. I don't know how much we learn about our staff when we do that. But when you are in the fire, I think that I've learned a lot more about people in my life when things go poorly than when things are going great. So in terms of scheduling, we are looking for playoff caliber schools that are physical and that are going to test us to get us ready for that postseason run. Because ultimately, that next playoff win is very important to this school. That next Final Four is extremely important to this school. So if you are not doing everything that you can to prepare these kids for that run, for that moment, I see that as a sign of disloyalty.
Wow.
If you're not going to be here in the off season and give these kids the tutoring and the weightlifting sessions and the mentorship, and you are not willing to build a rapport and go to wing night and stuff like that, and in terms, to answer your question, the scheduling, if we're not willing to prepare them and we're ducking people, I think that I see that as the ultimate sign of disloyalty, because those kids deserve your best. They got 4 years. And if you're not going to give them your best in terms of scheduling, in terms of all those little things that you actually control, it's not the place for you. And that's not a shot at anybody personally. There's other programs you can go to, but at Kennedy, if you're not going to match that standard, you kindly ask to leave. And I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And I know what I signed up for, so I'm here for it, brother. I'm here for it.
I need one of those helmets. I'm running through that wall right now. I'm ready to
go.
go.
Hey, you got to talk to Coach Mo and Coach Simmons, man. Those are the guys, man.
Last question for you. We'll take it off the field.
Yes, sir.
You got this hat on that we talked about before. I know your family means a lot to you, and,
yes, sir.
You represent your dad, and being a Chicago Bears fan might be one of the only ones you get this year. So we're gonna let you have it. But talk to me about family and the influence of your family on you to make you the man you are today.
Oh gosh, what a loaded question. I just I think my parents set such a high standard of empathy. Putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, having compassion, having empathy. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing that I learned from them, my mom and my dad, my stepmom, is that you need to provide value and service to others. My older brother he became a sheriff. My twin brother became an attorney. I became a teacher, all to provide some sort of service for other people. And it is a hobby. It's a pleasure when you can make that your profession.
Yeah.
And bringing that here, I just think every day it's the best job I ever had. And to try to bring that stuff here and to be around these young men and this coaching staff, if I could bring some of that grit, if I could bring some of that empathy, if I could bring some of that mojo, then that would help a long way. But this interview is about Warren JFK. It's not about me. It'll never be about me, and it's about these guys. And we need to get ready for a big physical Grand Valley team on Friday.
Coach,
but I appreciate you asking.
No, I can't thank you enough for sitting down. It's my absolute honor. I've wanted to do this for a while, so
thanks,
thank
man.
you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate
thanks you. Hey, thanks for covering our school,
you
man.
got it. Best of luck to you.
Hey, War Eagle.